Hi guys, welcome to Auntie Stacy Speaks. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Mindset 101. Happy Sunday, my mentally fit tribe. And I trust you are all having a blessed Sunday so far. So, my question for you today, I know for so many of us, like we have gotten into this habit of fasting. And I know fasting, for the most part, we always look at it from a biblical perspective, Jesus fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. And so when we think about fasting, we think about it from a church standpoint or perspective. So, when the church calls for us to go on fasting and we do it, corporately at certain times of the day and all that. For persons like myself who you get to a certain age and you become health conscious, then you start doing intermittent fasting, and you're eating one meal a day during that period of fasting. And I want to ask us today, do we know that we also need to fast from people? That we also need to fast from certain negative conversations, that we also need to fast from certain mindsets, the negative mindsets that we take on. Is that a thing for us? Are we doing that kind of fast, or is our fast just restricted to food? Well, if your fast is just restricted to food, I am telling you today that you need to engage in some of the other fasting as well. We need to be fasting from people at times, because sometimes the persons that we find ourselves around, for whatever reason, is not the best influence for us. It's not who we need in our space at this time. It's not persons who are going to ensure that we are walking circumspectly. It's probably persons who are going to derail us and take us off the path that we are on. And so we have to be very conscious of that, to know that yes, we love you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in my space at this moment, because what you have to offer is going to be a distraction for me. It's going to take me away from the focus that I'm trying to maintain, and the place that I'm aiming to get to. And so I might need to take a fast from you. And me fasting from you, it doesn't mean that I have any ill feelings towards you. It doesn't mean that I have you up in my heart or anything like that, because we're not doing that. But it is all about doing what is best for me and doing what is best for my journey, right? It's all about ensuring that I am aligning with God's will for my life. And if by aligning to his will for my life, you are somehow going to distract me from where he's taking me, and you're somehow going to become a stumbling block on my path, then I have to take a little fast from you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because sometimes what you find is that eventually they will also find their path, and at some other point in time, probably the conversations between both parties will be mutually beneficial, because you will both be of the same mindset, and you'll both be pursuing possibly the same goal. So the conversations are going to be totally different, right? And like I said too, sometimes we need to fast from certain negative conversations. Like, if you know that if you call Stacy, all Stacy is going to be talking about is everything that is going bad in her life, all she's going to be talking about is what if this, what if that, if all she's going to be talking about is somebody else's business, tearing down somebody else. And do not call Stacy. if you know what to expect from a conversation with somebody and you know that it's just going to be a negative conversation, avoid it. Take a fast from it as well. Because when you then go and engage in that conversation, and I mean, if you have never noticed it before, I'm challenging you to take note of it now. When you have conversations with certain persons whose mindset is so negative and everything is negative, at the end of that conversation, if you answered your phone all upbeat and chirpy and happy, check your energy levels once you have ended that conversation. It's like you feel drained. It's like they have sucked the living life out of you. It's like if you are having a great day, all of a sudden it's like yes, your mind gone somewhere else, because now you have absorbed that energy. So whatever it is that they're giving out, you have taken it on. You have taken on all the issues that they have presented to you. You know, everything that they were complaining about, you have now started internalizing that. And by internalizing it, it has now started to affect you before you even realize that it's affecting you. And sometimes we're saying, oh no, you know, we know how to separate things, and you know, we're not going to allow what people say or what people do to negatively impact us. But lo and behold, it does. And sometimes it does so in just the slightest way. Might not be a big impact, and so you see it right off the back. But I challenge you to take note. Next time somebody calls and the conversation is all negative, check your levels before and after the conversation and just see how it is that you were impacted during that conversation. And so if you know the MO of a person, when you see that name coming up on your phone, you have all right to say, you know what, I'm not taking this call today. I am protecting my energy, I'm protecting my peace, and I'm not taking on this baggage today. This is not my battle to take on. This is not my baggage to take on. And so I'm not taking it on today. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, we have to take care of us. Before we can take care of anybody else, we have to take care of us. And a lot of times we sacrifice ourselves, you know, at the cost of other persons. And so I'm encouraging you to take care of you. It is very important that you take care of you. And thirdly, taking a fast from negative mindsets. Have you ever thought about fasting from negative mindsets? Because some of us, you know, we have not gotten to the place where we're able to see the good in everything that happens. And so we get caught up in the negative. We get caught up in the what if and the why me. And, you know, why is this happening? We get caught up in that. And we get caught up in those emotions to say, okay, why is something bad always happening to me? But we never stop and pause to see that, okay, something bad might have happened in this hour. In the 24-hour day, something bad might have happened in this hour. But the 23 hours prior, it was good. So what you need to focus on is the fact that you had 23 good hours. You only have one bad hour, right? And we need to get into that space where we're always looking for the good, the positive in everything that happens to us. We need to get to that space, because a lot of times that's what the enemy used to try and defeat us. You know, when we stay stuck on focusing on the negative, of course, he's going to give us a whole heap of negative things to focus on, because what? In that moment, we have lost our peace, we have lost our joy, and we have lost our happiness. And so all we can think about is everything that is not going right. And we fail to recognize the things that are actually going right. We fail to recognize that the fact that we are breathing, the fact that we have life, right? that in itself makes life worth living. It makes a, I don't even know how to explain it, but that in itself makes everything else minor. Because whilst we are here breathing and using our breath to complain and to focus on the negatives, somebody just died. Somebody just took their last breath, and their family is there wishing they had more time with them. You have time, but you're using your time to complain and to focus on everything that you think is supposed to be a certain way and it is not. But why not focus just on the mere fact that you're alive, and by being alive, you have the opportunity to start again. So whatever it is, it might not have worked in your favor today, but you have the opportunity to start again tomorrow. And when you start tomorrow, you're starting from experience and not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience, and so you might make better progress when you start again tomorrow. So I'm encouraging you for this week, my Mentally Fit Tribe, to do the necessary fast as is needed. You're fasting from people as is needed. You're fasting from negative conversations as is needed. And you're fasting from negative mindsets as is needed. All right? So when you're doing your fast, just take into consideration that these might be some things that you also need to incorporate in your fasting. The fasting from people who are distractions and who will possibly delay the journey that you're on. You're fasting from those people. You're fasting from the negative conversations. So when you see that name pop up and you know that for the most part, every time you open that conversation with that person, it's always so draining on you. You have the right to ignore that conversation. You have the right to say, look, I am not taking this on today. I choose to preserve my energy today. I choose to remain on the positive path that I am on. I choose not to be burdened by somebody else's negative energy. And 3, we're fasting from those negative mindsets. Negative mindset will never create anything positive in your life. It's going to create more negative, because that's the frequency on which you are operating, right? And to put it another way, that's the seed that you're sowing. And the Bible tells us about sowing and reaping. So if you're planting negative seeds, you're most definitely going to reap something negative. You're not going to plant negative and reap positive. So ensure that the seeds that you're sowing, ensure that your mindset is positive. You're not glorifying anything negative. You're focusing on the positives. And like I always encourage my friend, I tell her, look, when the enemy tries to come with anything, to change your mood, to get you into that place of negative and to make you feel upset and anxious and angry and feel as though everything is going wrong, I said, laugh, smile, carry on, be happy just the same, and I think when I say it, people might think that I'm crazy. But once the enemy sees that whatever he's doing, whatever distraction he's sending your way, once he sees that it is negatively impacting you, he's going to continue. But when he sees that you are still happy and upbeat and you're at peace and you still have joy, right? And you're carrying on as though nothing has happened, it will confuse him. Because his whole thought process will be like, how is it that I'm doing all of this to her? And, she's still happy. She's still at peace and she's still carrying on as though I'm not doing all these things, right? You have to confuse the enemy. Think about Job and everything that he went through. When he was going through what he was going through, he was still praising the Lord. He was still blessing the Lord. He was still praying for his friends. He wasn't allowing his circumstances to get on the inside of him and to change his mindset and take him into the negative. Not at all. He was still positive. So I'm challenging you this week, my Mentally Fit tribe, to do that fasting as is necessary. You know, I'm encouraging you to take care of you. And so if by taking care of you, that requires you to fast from some people, that requires you to not engage in the negative conversations, and that requires you to change the negative mindset, then I'm encouraging you to do that this week and here on. So that's it for me for this week, my Mentally Fit tribe. But I'm counting on you to take up the challenge, and I'm counting on you to put self first, because if you don't take care of you, then you'll have absolutely nothing to offer anybody else. So you have to take care of you first. So until next week, have a blessed week.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.